once again, it's that time of year when all of us film nerds who desperately claim not to care about the Oscars are rise out of our caves to, for some weird reason, argue about the Oscars for months on end. So yeah, I'm gonna talk about the Oscars. Yay! So basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through all nine best picture I'm gonna go through all nine best picture nominations and just give my thoughts about them, tell you what I think, and then we can all go our separate ways. That sound good? Yeah. Now, generally, this year is a pretty good year for Best Picture because this is the Academy we're talking about. Like last year, they nominated Green Book and Bohemian Rhapsody. So the fact that this year all nine movies are genuinely good is just we need to celebrate that because we've hit something. This is just unique. It's a once in a generation thing. I bet next year they're gonna like nominate like Triumph of the Will or some really weird, stupid, dumb Nicolas Cage movie that he's doing, or they're gonna like I don't know why I picked on Nicolas Cage. He's done some good stuff. Mandy was good. It's quite mean that I picked on him because I know deep down that he cares very deeply about the opinions of a random 20-year-old on the internet, and I just wanted to clear that grievance because what am I talking about? Now let's begin with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Now this is probably in my top 5 of 2019, and honestly, it's one of my favorite Tarantino films. I don't know what it's about. I'm genuinely just drawn towards films that are just sort of like meandering and like not heavy in plot. Like movie. Let me think of some examples. American Graffiti, Dazed and Confused. Just these movies that just you just follow a character just doing stuff and then it ends. You get a 10-minute sequence of Brad Pitt feeding his dog, having a beer, and watching some random show from the 60s. Like, in most movies, you would not get that. I know it's just so shallow to be like, ooh, I love the mood of this movie, or I like the vibe of it, but that's probably the best way to describe it. I don't know how Tarantino did it, but the movie has the ability to keep me engaged despite the fact that nothing is really happening, and that's probably one of Tarantino's best strengths. He can make like a nothing situation or a nothing movie be genuinely one of the most entertaining experiences of the year for me. Let's talk about Little Woman. Now, I love Greta Gerwig's films. Well, I love the two films he's done so far. Like, Lady Bird was probably one of the best movies of 2017, I think it came out in. And yeah, I'd say Little Woman is probably one of the best movies of 2019. I don't There's this really good whimsical quality to this film, and I feel like it really captures childhood it captures that time in your life really well. The performances, the cinematography, the music, just it all comes together in the perfect way to capture a very specific moment in all of our lives. And as someone who's never read the book or watched any other version of this movie is my introduction to Little Woman, and now this is the version that I'm gonna like think of whenever someone says Little Woman. Like this, I'm probably gonna go back and watch the other versions now because I'm on that Little Woman hype train. But this would probably be the version that I go back to the most because it is just so warm and so full of life and energy. It's got that really good childlike quality that I feel like you need for a coming of age story. It's time to talk about 1917. Now, this is probably one of the most experience heavy films of this category, And I feel like the experience on its own is great. Like, if you can watch this in a theater, I know literally everybody who's seen this has said this, but honestly, if you can watch this in the theater, do it because it's so worth it. It's so. If you've seen like Saving Private Ryan, Dunkirk, or just like any big war movie, it's that level of just craft and cinematography. It's an event, and on that level, on a level of the fact that this movie, that's how this movie is made, the editing, how they managed to make it look like one take is insane, and I love that. But on an emotional level, I think this is probably the coldest movie out of the nine. Like, I couldn't. It took me. This movie is about 2 hours long, and it took me an hour to properly get invested emotionally, which is probably is a bad thing. Like, I struggled to empathize with the two main characters because I just didn't. There was no character development, so I was just sat there watching this amazing technical achievement, but just being like, this is a cool technical achievement, but I don't care what's happening. Yeah, it's not good, but once I did start to feel something, like some kind of empathy for it, it was genuinely a great experience. Like, that last hour is probably some of the best war movie stuff that, not that, well, that, I'm being hyperbolical there, that's probably too much, but it was. Once you get invested, it is genuinely a movie that it's great. It's, yeah, don't know what else to say. It's time for the one foreign movie that most people will ever see, Parasite. Now, I saw this fairly recently. This is probably, well, this was the last movie of the Best Picture category that I needed to watch. So I saw this 2 weeks ago because it came out, it took a while to come out in my city, like in England, which is annoying because I was genuinely excited for this movie. Like, I'd heard a lot of stuff about it, like, oh, it's one of the best movies of the year. It's so good. It's just amazing, and I don't like to like buy into hype, but I'd heard about it, so I just like, because I just don't like to like buy into like that sort of stuff and get myself too excited or too just like, I just like want to see a movie as it is and try to come in with as little as possible, so I can judge it fairly. So I did that. So I did that thing with this, and honestly, all the people who said it was brilliant, a masterpiece, so good, I 100%, it is. It's freaking amazing film. But most movies, so like, they have you, they might lose you for a little bit, and then eventually they might win you back around. But this is this movie has you by the balls from start to finish. There's no downtime. There's nothing. And alongside this, how well it's put together, it has a lot to say about like class inequalities, like all that kind of stuff. And I don't want to compare like movies, but I'm going to talk about Joker in a bit. So fuck it. I feel like this movie does a far better job at how it handles those issues of class compared to Joker. Like, with Joker, it feels very like confused about what it's trying to say and how it handles what it thinks it's trying to say. Whereas with Parasite, it knows exactly what it is and it commits to that from beginning to end. And that's, yeah, so that's probably my best compliment I can say about it. It's entertaining, it's a crowd pleaser, it has it knows exactly what it's trying to say and be, and if you want to get into foreign films, this is probably one of the ones. This could be like a gateway one for many people who want to explore non-American films. So people should watch this movie and like it because it's good. It's just really good. Watch it, please. And now it's time to talk about the evil stepchild of the Oscars, the Joker, or just Joker, I guess. I'm mixed about this movie. like this movie, I guess. I like the mood of it. I like the aesthetic of it. I like what I think I like what this movie is trying to do, but I don't like how it did it. I like how this movie is like I'm quite bored of comic book movies generally. Like this was pretty interesting because it wasn't a typical actiony, over the top blockbuster that I'm just bored of right now. So on that level, I liked it. I like the cinematography. It's pretty, I guess. I hate myself for saying that. And I like Joaquin Phoenix. He's really good. But on a script level, this movie is a mess. As I just mentioned beforehand, I don't know what this movie is trying to say exactly. It says about a million things. It does not want to commit to any of them, and it acts like it's saying something deep about one. Like, I don't even know which one of those things it's trying to act so desperately pretentious about. I guess you could say it's about recognition because that's there. It's about mental illness. It's about class inequality. It's about corrupt politicians. It's got too many things going on. It's got so many things that it's just the movie can never commit to any of them because it has too many. So it in a better world, this movie would have picked one theme and committed to that one theme for the entire thing. And I feel like because the film didn't do that, it becomes muddied and just sort of like borderline nonsensical on the thematic level, which is quite annoying. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I've been quite negative on this film, but generally I do enjoy it. It's just it's just not the best. I don't think it should have been nominated for Best Picture because it's not the Best Picture. Maybe Best Actor, Best Cinematography, Best Production Design. Any of those would be great because it deserves those. But it's just there are better movies than this one. And let's talk about one of those better movies, The Irishman. While this movie is, oh, I like this movie. Yes, yeah, it's a good movie. I don't think it's Scorsese's best. I don't know. I feel like I'm also a little bit mixed on this movie as well. Like, I feel like the first 2 hours or so are a bit generic mobster movie stuff like we've already seen. Like, Scorsese's not doing anything particularly interesting. It's basically like Goodfellas, Casino, like any Departed, is it any of those basically. But the last hour or so is genuinely I love it. Like, I like the idea of an aging mobster who's fucked over his entire family and now has to, like, pay for that. He has to, like, I found all the stuff when he's, like, an old man trying to reconnect with his daughters, but they won't let him. They won't talk to him. They hate him. All of that stuff is genuinely it's so good. It's so interesting. And if that was the entire movie, I would love this movie so much. But it's only an hour or so in a 3 hour movie, so I'm a bit like, it goes down from like a 9 to like a 7 maybe. The first 2 hours would probably be a good 6 or 7 out of 10, but that last hour is probably like a good 9. Take of that what you will. It's time to talk about Le Mans 66. Now, this movie is pretty good. I've not got much I want to say about it apart from it was pretty entertaining. It was a fun movie. Christian Bale was good. Matt Damon was good. The race car sequences were pretty well executed. It's a lot of fun. It was a good time. That's all I can really say about it. So, if you're bored one day, you can watch this movie because that's what it's made for. Jojo Rabbit is my next movie that I'm going to talk about, and I liked it. It was fun, it was sweet, it was so just a lot of fun considering it's a movie about Nazis, which, yeah, I thought it was a little bit. I guess you could say it's probably a little bit too simple in its how it looks at Nazis and how it looks at World War Two. And obviously, that is going to happen when you tell a story through the perspective of a 10-year-old boy. This movie is about how Jojo was basically brainwashed into being a racist and a Nazi. So I don't know. Maybe I just think showing how Hitler manipulated Germany into wanting into believing his ideology would be a pretty decent parallel to Jojo. Like, because of the Great Depression in Germany during the 1930s, Jews are scapegoated as this villain. Just that. That's enough. It's just. I don't know. I just think paralleling Jojo to the wider context of Nazism in Germany could be an interesting way to look at the story. I don't know, it's stupid, but yeah. But yeah, generally, I do think this movie is pretty fun. Like, for example, Alfie Allen is pretty funny in this movie. Like, there's a scene with Scarlett Johansson and Sam Rockwell where those two are just talking, and then every once in a while, you'll just see Alfie Allen in the background, just dancing with his headphones on. And the movie, it never addresses this, but it's just there. Like, he'll just be there doing stuff. Taika Waititi has a good sense of humor, so if you wanna watch a movie and like laugh at how dumb Nazis are, then here's the movie for that. It's a thing. Do it. Watch it. Good. And last but not least, Marriage Story. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I have no real deep or interesting thoughts about this movie. It's pretty good. It's not my favorite. It's not my least favorite. It's just I liked it. Adam Driver was good. Scarlett Johansson was good. Laura Dern was good, and Noah Baumbach. He did it again. Another movie that I enjoyed. That's it. So yeah, that's the 9 Best Picture nominations. Like, as I said, I enjoyed them all at least. I thought they were all at least on some level competently made. So that's good because the Academy they have poor taste in movies. It seems if you look back at their history of what they vote for. So obviously, there's quite a few movies here that I would have wanted to get some recognition just generally because there's quite a lot of like great movies that came out in 2019. Booksmart came out. Loose. That was really good, but no one talked about it. Doctor Sleep. Sorry We Missed You. There's a lot of good stuff that came out in the past 12 months that we should all be talking about, but no one did, which is quite sad, but still, at least this year there's no Bohemian Rhapsody, there's no Green Book. Let's just be thankful for that. Goodbye.